When Mortal Kombat 2 was released in 1993, gamers all around the world cheered in unison. It was one of the greatest games ever conceived. It brought about hype. It brought about rivalries, stories. It developed scenes and tournaments that would change people's lives forever. But come on, when has a franchise ever ended on its second installment? As the previous cliffhanger briefly mentioned, Mortal Kombat 3 as a concept already began to sit comfortably in people's minds. Like, duh, right? Of course they're going to release another one. 2 years went by, and finally a new Mortal Kombat arcade game was released. And it was exactly the masterpiece everyone expected it to be. Hold on, I have a sound clip here from the last episode I'd like to use. Is how this story should have gone. When gameplay mechanics are fine-tuned in one entry, how do we expect them to improve in a further iteration? The previous episode led with a bold statement regarding the outcome of Mortal Kombat 2. Was it just MK 1.5? I didn't directly give an answer to that question because I didn't have to. The game innovated with small tweaks and improvements, as well as further building the lore for this ever-growing franchise. It required patience, knowledge, and genuine skill to outsmart either the opponent or extremely cheap AI. As you can see, the gameplay is well refined and a clear peak has been reached for the creative company. Here's the thing. The footage I've been showing you is actually Mortal Kombat 3. Its subtle changes and nuance in comparison to its older counterpart are unnoticeable at best. The difference between 1 and 2 is clear as day, but 2 and 3 is fairly blurry. I get what Midway was aiming for here. When you create an improved version of your own work, it makes total sense to build upon the improvements you've implemented. But problems begin to arise when a change doesn't significantly affect the player's enjoyment. Like changing the health bars from green to blue. Okay, why? It just feels like they were trying too hard. No guys, this isn't just Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe. Look, the health bars are a different color. Now, go play our game. I didn't think I'd have a lot to talk about with this entry, but surprisingly, I've gathered a good few, possibly controversial thoughts. It's time for round 3.
Fight!
Mortal Kombat 3? Let's talk about it! The one thing I have to massively praise MK3 for is its plot progression. The opening tells us of the multitude of stories at play in the Mortal Kombat universe. Raiden, as an Elder God, can only protect the Earthrealm defenders. As such, he can't physically compete this time around. Kano is still on the run from the Special Forces. The Lin Kuei begin the cyberization of its clan members, and Liu Kang once again steps up to protect his home world from the wicked ruler. While these story beats are awesome, the actual gameplay doesn't diverge as much as I'd wished. The only major addition is there's a run button now that allows you to perform a flurry of punches and kicks that absolutely obliterates your opponent. Here's the thing, they might just obliterate the opponent too well. Damage output in this game is incredibly high. It's bizarre, some characters hit you twice and you're dead. The punish game has been oversimplified to the point that combos don't feel satisfying anymore. Specials are still cool and all, but many of them feel inferior to the character's main neutral tools. I don't play this game competitively or anything, but everyone just feels samey. To show you what I mean, let's play through the arcade mode with Scorpion. Sorry, this is awkward, but I can't seem to find the mascot. What a truly horrible fan I am. Okay, now. Where is he? Seriously, am I losing my mind? Okay, maybe he's an unlockable or something. That's fine. That would be a cool feature, but I feel is severely underrated in fighting games. Whatever, okay, fine. I'll go with Sub-Zero then. Where is below not Celsius Man?
Sub-Zero.
Thank you, game, for utilizing your sentient prowess to fix my problems for me. Now, I'm playing Sub-Zero. Wait, that's Sub-Zero? The Sub-Zero? See, that's funny, because last time I checked, he was cool. But now he's just chilled. I would highly recommend no one decipher that joke, because it had absolutely no meaning no matter what way you look at it. Are you starting to understand what I mean yet? The team at Midway seem to be trying way too hard to make MK3 stand out amongst its predecessors. Listen, I don't care what brand new innovative idea you bring to a sequel. Why would you cut your most iconic character for purely no reason but to be different? Okay, that's wrong. I understand it's because of the plot, but that's not a justifiable reason. Like, imagine Street Fighter without Ryu. It's incomprehensible. When I look at MK3, there's a certain phrase that comes to mind. Questionable design. That sums up the game nicely. Look at the cast this time around. You have 0 ninjas, 2 military veterans, 4 goths, another Shang Tsung redesign, 5 robots, and a pathetic cop. No Scorpion, no Katana, and Johnny is probably out there making a better Mortal Kombat 3. It's Johnny, come on. Speaking of movie magic, sound effects and even music this time don't compare to the last game. Granted, I don't have a strong liking towards any of the trilogy's OST, but 2 felt so much more immersive by comparison. Fatalities had that blood splashing effect with a dark, droning aftertone. It suited it so well.
Fatality.
Mortal Kombat 3 changes this for no reason but to be different, and that definitely hurts.
Cyrax wins. Fatality.
On the topic of the legendary finishers, even they suffer from questionable design choices. This title sees them delve a little too much into the cartoony side. On the flip side, 2 new finisher types called Animalities and Brutalities were introduced. People must have really dug Liu Kang's better fatality in 93, because now every member of the cast can transform into their spirit animal and decimate their opponent. I will admit, they are fantastic. It's a great twist on ending the match with a creative final blow and a tiny bit of comedic spice thrown into the mix. No complaints here. This is one of the few innovations I can actually get behind. The same sadly can't be said about the next category of finishers. Brutalities are basically an extended combo that causes your opponent to miraculously explode upon the final hit. I don't really mind these being here. It's a neat addition, but it doesn't add any flair to finishing a match. Both of these types lean on the more fantastical side of MK, which is fine. That works for what they are. But a war hero mysteriously transforming into a giant to stomp out his opponent is nowhere near as entertaining as a decapitation. It's just silly. Don't get me wrong, there's a few great ones here, but for every good Fatal in the game, 5 terrible ones follow. And that ear-grating static the androids make. Oh my god, make it stop! You know who else I'd like to stop breathing? Motaro! This centaur acts as the new sub-boss of the game. Goro is presumably dead, and Shang Tsung was probably benched after proving to be a failure. Twice. Do you know what nickname I give to Motaro? The Moneymaker. That obstacle in any arcade game that had one singular purpose: to get players rolling their coins. Something so difficult, so unfair, so infinitely cheap, it ironically makes the creator infinitely rich. Goro and Kintaro were definitely a challenge. Shao Kahn too, but he's the final boss. What did you expect? But Motaro is just frustrating! Why do his moves do so much damage and have so much priority? His range is insane! He's got a projectile and he can teleport? Are you kidding me? I imagine Ed Boon rolling up to his multi-million-dollar mansion, laughing to himself, thinking, "Thank you, you cheap son of a bitch." The flaws that MK3 brought with it struck the community hard, and for the majority of fans, MK2 was still their coveted fighter. 3 couldn't even hold a candle to how elder, godlike the previous entry was, and we need a major overhaul if it wanted to stand a fighting chance. How fitting, because just a few short months later, it got that chance. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 came out later the same year, and with it brought significant improvements to the base MK3. First of all, finally Scorpion is in the game! Yes, 10 out of 10 game of the year right there! No, but seriously, 7 fighters were introduced, not only bringing back some classic fan favorites, but also made the roster quite large for a 95 fighter. Katana, Melina, Jade, Reptile, and brand new red palette swap of the ninjas, Ermac. Originating from another rumor involving the amount of error macros. Either that is extremely nerdy, or totally badass. Yeah, definitely that one. But this upgrade was so much more than just adding a couple of characters. New stages that would go on to be absolutely iconic. New specials for pre-existing fighters, and much more combo variety. This is the game fans wanted to see, and I can only imagine that it was unanimously agreed upon to be the definitive Mortal Kombat game. But sadly, that's all I can do. Imagine. Okay, let me wash away this retrospective act and be real with you guys. As a sequential fighting game series, as a trilogy, as a set of arcade games, it is completely unfair for me to critique these games as they stand. Because in modern day, this isn't how they were meant to stand. The games feature a fighting ladder and variety of versus modes, but that was it. For an arcade full of gaming-hungry teens, that is more than acceptable. But for a priced home console game, it's inexcusable. Unfortunately for the booming company Midway, this is the style I'm accustomed to. I wasn't even around for the 90s arcade hype, but it's very obvious that's what these games were designed for. For the low price of 25 cents, you could beat the story mode of any arcade game. If you were skilled enough, technically you could do it for just 25 cents. Gathering a crowd around you as your Johnny Cage nut punches the tyrannical emperor, friendships and training partners and rivals and enemies start to form. One week you're discovering how to fight Smoke. The next, you're wagering $5 against the best Sonya Blade in town. Storylines and memories are forged through this out-of-game connection, yet are only created because of your connection to the game. In this day and age, there is absolutely no possible way for me to replicate the experiences arcade veterans had back in the day. I digitally buy the game, get bored in an hour, and I'm done. Now, I know there were the Nintendo and Sega ports, but I feel like they were only for true fans of the series. The general gaming audience could just play a glorified demo of MK for the price of a Freddo. Wait, do you guys even get that reference? They're not even 25 cents anymore, just never mind. In conclusion, can I say that Mortal Kombat 1, 2, or 3 is worth playing nowadays? No. But for its time, was it beautifully innovative, flawlessly satisfying, and outstandingly creative? Yes. No other game that had come before was like Mortal Kombat. Characters looked like actual humans in perfect proportion. Its juggling mechanics were unique and the story was impressive for video game standards. There was a plot here that was fascinating and genuinely written well, but not overwhelming to the point that it interfered with gameplay. Now, that's not to say that you can't enjoy these games today. One of the beauties of fighting games is that they never age beyond playable. Let me be clear. If you like any of these three titles, fantastic. That is awesome that you still enjoy the works of a small creative team from centuries ago. And I'd never want to take that away from you. But is it my cup of tea? No, but I'll take a biscuit if it's going. While outdated in my eyes, 1995 was still drowning in combat fever. The industry was 1 year shy of a huge leap in evolution that would make or break many series during their transition to the third dimension. It only made sense that Midway took this jump, but did they land themselves a flawless victory? Thank you so much for watching, and congratulations for making it to the end of this trilogy of videos. Unless you didn't watch the first two videos, in which case, go back and watch them. And after you've done that, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what? I'll make a special exception for you. You can like and subscribe now and watch the videos later, that's fine. And if you're feeling particularly interactive today, why don't you hit me up on social media or in the comments below? I have a ton of videos planned for the foreseeable future, so if you guys really like them, I'll keep providing them, don't worry about it. Alright, all the shameless plugs are done, I guess I'll go. No, seriously, thank you all so much for watching these few episodes, and I'm extremely excited to work on more in the future. These videos are 100% done as a one-man army and myself. I do the voiceover, I do the editing, I source the footage by recording it, or I have to source it from online somewhere. And while I'm not gonna lie, it sometimes can be a grueling process, it's always worth it in the end. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.